There's a new power. We didn't add any brand new weapons this time, but we did add some upgrades to the existing ones. So for instance, the choke dust that we added, which was a brand new tool in the Knife of Dunwall, now has an upgrade that makes the guards forget what they were doing. So before it would they would cough and they would be disoriented for a moment, but now it acts as almost like forget powder. It's almost like Corvo's possession in the first game. Whenever you exited somebody, they would sort of like stumble around for a moment and then go, oh, I don't know what that was, but I feel weird, and then keep walking. That's what the powder does now. We added a whole new class of bone charms, which I think are pretty cool, called corrupted bone charms. And they are basically, they have a much stronger, more pronounced effect than the older ones did, but they have a downside. So one of the ones that's my favorite actually allows you to, if you're totally standing still, you're invisible. But the downside is you don't regenerate mana. So you could do some cool things like just stand right in front of a guard and he can't see you, and you can blink, 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 blink while being completely invisible, but eventually you'll run out of mana. And there's cool combos. There's I think 4 or 5 more of those kinds of bone charms, and you can create some cool combinations by stacking different ones. There were some things that, of course, we wanted to tweak in response to fan feedback. And then there were some things that were already core tenets of the way we like to do level design and content creation that we wanted to just push even harder. So especially with something as short as a DLC, we wanted to make sure that, for instance, the levels are very replayable, so that if you play the DLC again, you can make very different choices and have a different experience and a different outcome. And some things we did, like we added a harder difficulty in response to fan feedback. So we have this thing called Master Assassin that we added to Knife of Dunwall. People really liked it, so it's in the Brigmore Witches also. Which is a very, very ultra lethal playthrough difficulty. So hardcore fans will totally dig that. From the Knife of Dunwall to the Brigmore Witches, people really liked the favors that we added. So at the beginning of each mission, since Stout is this very well-connected assassin, you can make use of favors. You can buy favors at the beginning to help you out in the mission a little bit. But they weren't quite as impactful as we wanted them to be. So we tried to make sure that this time they were super useful. Players who play the Knife of Dunwall can transfer their saves over, and so some favors appear based on things that you did in the Knife of Dunwall. So in a mission in the Brigmore Witches, if you play the Knife of Dunwall and transferred your save, there'll be favors available that wouldn't be there otherwise.
What are you going to miss, Matt, the most about this particular franchise?
I think a lot. It's hard to pinpoint one thing. I think the world itself is one of my favorite worlds that I've ever worked on or just experienced as a gamer myself, because I like to play the other level designer stuff and read what everybody else has written and experience their gameplay setups. And so I'm really, I think, going to miss the city of Dunwall, the people of Dunwall, and just the universe itself.